Hi, my name is Filip Lundstedt, and I'm known as the Insurance Guru. And the reason I'm known as the Insurance Guru is because I'm going to show you the strategies and the secrets that the insurance companies, they don't want you to know. So I hope it's okay that I share some of these strategies and secrets with you today. And what I'm going to be doing is breaking it up into a video series. But I want to take the time thanking you for taking this leap and taking this step to really clearing up some of the confusion around Medicare. And through this Medicare Mastery Series and this Medicare Essentials workshop, that's exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get clarity and really understand what your availabilities are and how Medicare works, including strategies and secrets that most brokers aren't going to tell you about. So let's go ahead and roll right into video 1. I want to welcome you to video 1, where we're going to be talking about Parts A and Part B of Medicare, including IRMA. And today we're going to start with Medicare Part A, which is known as hospital insurance. So Medicare Part A, here's what that covers. It covers inpatient hospital stays, skilled nursing facility care, hospice, and some home health care services. And those home health care services that you receive from Medicare Part A are for intermittent care or health care, medical care that's medically necessary and ordered by a doctor. What it doesn't cover is custodial care, which is care that includes cooking your meals, cleaning you, giving you a bath, helping you to and from the bathroom, mowing your lawn, or painting your house. It doesn't include those things right there. Now, Medicare Part A, it's very important to understand that in order to be eligible for it, you got to be 65 years old. You'd have to work in the United States of America taxable years for at least 10 years or 40 quarters. If not, premiums in 2025 are as high as $506 a month for Medicare Part A, but most people are qualified through Medicare Part A and they're not paying anything for it because they've worked 10 years or 40 quarters here in the United States. So the other thing that we've got to know outside of Medicare Part A is that most of you are going to get it for $0. And if you were just talking about original Medicare right here, right now, which is the red, white, and blue card that if you don't have it yet, you will be receiving. When you're on Medicare Part A, you do have a deductible that exists if you go into the hospital. And that deductible is $1,600 per benefit period. And that's what it's going to be for in the year of 2025. Obviously, every year these numbers can change, but right now it's $1,600 per benefit period. So after you hit the Medicare deductible of $1,600, you're going to have some copays. And the copays or coinsurance works like this. Days 1 through 60, it's $0 per day. You don't pay anything because you've paid your deductible. Days 61 through 90 is $400 each day. And then days 91 and over is $800 per day. Now, it's important to understand that once you go over day 91, you start to go into what's called lifetime reserve days. And you only get up to 60 days. Once you run out of those 60 days, you are out of days in the hospital. That's how it works. You do not get any more reserve days after you've gone through 60 days. So it's important to know that when you have just straight Medicare, there are limitations to how much time you can spend in the hospital. Most people aren't spending 180 days in the hospital unless it's a terrible situation where you're comatose or something major is happening. Now, beyond lifetime reserves, you have to pay, again, 100% of the cost that exists. So you only get 60 days of lifetime reserves. So if you're in for 90 days and you max out your 60 days and you stay in an extra 100 days, you're paying 100% of the allowed costs that happens on Medicare Part A. The benefit period resets 60 days when you're outside of inpatient care. So you go in through inpatient care, you're there for 100 days, you get out of inpatient care and you're home for 65 days and you have to go back in. Well, the benefit period has restarted because the benefit period is every 60 days. So that covers Medicare Part A. Medicare, again, the Part A at least, is a very simple process. Think of it as room and board, as like when you go to a hotel. It pays for all the room and board. It's pretty simple. There's a $1,600 deductible, and you've got some copays if you stay over 60 days as an inpatient in a hospital, okay? Now, most people don't just have straight Medicare with straight Part A and straight Part B, unless they're a veteran or they've got group insurance or they got something else that's going on. Most people make a decision on how they're going to cover some of those gaps. But the more important thing to understand is exactly how Medicare Part B works. Medicare Part B is where you can find yourself having a lot of problems and a lot of costs that you may not be able to afford. So Medicare Part B is the second part of Medicare of original Medicare. And Medicare Part B covers outpatient care, doctor visits, preventative services, and durable medical equipment. So again, think of Medicare Part A as the hospital room and board, and Part B is all your doctor service, surgeons, anesthesiologists, procedures, preventative services, cancer treatments, any injectable drugs that you're getting, intravenous drugs or treatments that you're getting from a professional, MRIs, CAT scans, all of those different things, including your walkers, your wheelchairs, your oxygen tanks, your CPAP machines. All of that falls underneath the rule of Medicare Part B. So the standard premium for Medicare Part B is $185 in 2025. With Medicare Part A, you pay $0. With Medicare Part B, you do have a premium. $185 every single month, and it could be higher if you're subject to IRMA. And IRMA is income-related monetary adjustments. And I'll attach a chart to this video as well that you can look at to see where your income is, whether you're single or you're in a household and filed together, or if you're married and you're filing separately. There are all these different numbers that'll let you know if you're gonna get hit with IRMA. It's important to understand that your income that you're getting in retirement can affect the amount of money that you're paying for Medicare Part B. So you could be paying up to $300, $400, $500 a month for Medicare Part B. But the average American is paying $185 every single month for Medicare Part B. Now let's talk about what that $185 does for you. You pay $185 to Medicare Part B, and there's gonna be a deductible included in that. You're gonna have a $240 deductible for any doctor services or anything that you get through Medicare Part B. The co-insurance or the co-pays afterwards is gonna be 20%. And what this means is that Medicare is gonna pay 80% of the bill, and then you're gonna be required to pay the other 20% of the bill. Now, there's no out-of-pocket caps on this. So let me give you a good example. Let's say Medicare allows for a MRI to be $10,000. Well, the MRI is $10,000, Medicare is gonna pay $8,000, you're gonna pay the other $2,000. Now, if an MRI costs $10,000, what's it gonna cost for surgery? Let's say that you have a heart surgery and it's a double bypass surgery, $400,000 is gonna be your bill. If Medicare pays 80% of the $400,000, what does that equate to? Simple math, right guys? $320,000 is what they're paying, and you're gonna have to pay the remainder of that, which is gonna be 80 grand. Now, $80,000, that's a lot of money. So think about that. Could you afford to spend $80,000 if you had a surgery? With Medicare Part B, there is no caps. They don't say, well, once you hit 20 grand, you got this max out of pocket and you don't have to pay anything else. So it can be a very scary situation when you're looking at 20%. Just try to keep in mind that percentages, they're reflective to the value that they represent. So if you have to pay 20% of a $100,000 bill, that's 20K. If the bill's $1 million, right? Because you went to Moffitt Cancer Center or Sloan and Kettering or something major like that, and there was $1 million service that you had because you're getting immunotherapies and you're getting chemotherapies and radiation therapies and stem cell therapies, you got a $200,000 bill. Now that's not easy for most people. In fact, that's almost impossible for most people, and it can bankrupt you or take away all of your savings. So we want to be very, very careful in how we approach original Medicare. Let me give you some extra examples of how this can actually affect you, especially if you're getting hit with IRMA. So IRMA, which is the income-related monetary adjustments, they are applied if your modified adjusted gross income, or your MAGI, or your MAGI, exceeds $103,000 for an individual or $206,000 for a joint tax return that you did in 2023. Now, these are used for the 2025 premiums. I just want to share with you some of these examples because it's important to know that you know where your IRMA limitations are. This will help you better navigate what you're going to be paying for Medicare every single month. So the way it really works is that if you have a higher income bracket, you're going to pay additional monthly amounts for both Medicare Part B and Medicare Part D, which we're going to cover in a later video. Medicare Part D is for prescription drugs. Medicare Part B is for doctors and surgeons and anesthesiologists and services that you receive from both primaries and specialists. So it's important to understand that you will get IRMA on both of those if you make a higher income. So just to recap on how it works, Medicare Part A, hospitalization insurance. Medicare Part B is for the doctors, to keep it simple and easy. Medicare Part B is going to cover 80% of your bills, which means you're on the line for the 20%, and 20% is relative. It's relative to the value it represents. So if they charge $10,000 for an MRI, you got to pay 20% of that. Now, if you end up in the hospital and they've got all these line items and the total bill is $500,000, 20%, $500,000 is $100,000 that you will be required to pay. There's nobody else helping you because you just have straight Medicare. So in the next video, we're going to cover exactly what Medicare Part D means and how that affects you and the things that you need to know about that. Now keep in mind that you're going to have an attached chart to this video that you'll be able to reference to that will show you all of the breakdowns for IRMA, which is the income related monetary adjustments. But don't worry, if for any reason you're getting hit with IRMA, but you're no longer making the same income that you were in 2023, there is a form that we can send you. It's a simple and easy form we'll be happy to send you that you can fill out and apply for amnesty from the IRMA charges. This is a place where I've saved clients hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 22 years. Let me help you with these problems. So if you're getting hit with IRMA, don't fret, don't worry about it, and when you're in doubt, just give us a shout.